Okay, everyone, if we can find our seats, silence our cell phones. We're about to get started. Good evening, everyone. We are on the record. Today is Thursday, the second day of January in the year 2025. Happy New Year to everyone present and everyone watching at home. Hopefully this year is a good year for you and I. This is a regular meeting of the Jersey City Municipal Council. We had a scheduled 6 p.m. start. The clock on my cell phone is showing exactly 6 p.m. May we have a roll call for the commencement of this meeting? Councilperson Ridley.
Here.
Councilperson Prinzeri.
Here.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Yeah.
Councilperson Saleh.
Here.
Councilperson Solomon is not here yet. Councilperson Gilmore.
Present.
Councilperson DeGise.
Here.
Councilperson Rivera.
Here.
And Council President Waterman. We have 8 council members in attendance at 6 p.m. Can we kindly rise for a moment of silence, please?
Adonis White, Mr. Manning,
Dennis.
President Carter.
Dennis DeStefano, Jersey City Police Department.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Council President Waterman and the members of the Municipal Council, in accordance with New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, Chapter 231, the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the posting on the bulletin board of the first floor of City Hall, the annual notice, which is the schedule of meetings and caucuses for the Municipal Council for the calendar year 2025. And filed in the office of the city clerk on Friday, November 15th, 2024. In addition, at its time of its preparation, the agenda of this meeting was similarly disseminated on Monday, December 30th, 2024 at 1:27 p.m. to the mayor, municipal council, business administrator, corporation council, local newspapers, and posted on the city's website, so I can certify as to our total compliance with the Sunshine Law. Okay, council members, as you can see, we have a very light agenda, so there are no first readings, second readings. We're going to move right on to our public speakers. So everyone in attendance and everyone watching at home, please pay close attention to the agenda. I'm going to be calling the number and the first name of the speaker. First speaker is 5.1, Laverne. I don't see Laverne here. Next speaker, 5.2, Gina. Don't see her. 5.3, Tina. Don't see her either. 5.4, Edward. Not here. 5.5, Karen. Not here. 5.6, Anna.
Hi, my name is Anna Cruz, and I'm a tenant at 108 Sussex Street. This is my first time speaking before you, but I have sat here previously listening to as my neighbors and advocates fought for tenant rights. Tonight, I stand here deeply troubled, but also profoundly grateful. First, I would also like to recognize Denise Devlin, another tenant who did so much research and helped make a case for rent control at 108 Sussex. She spoke at the February 8th, 2023 meeting, and her efforts have been instrumental in bringing the truth to light. Denise, thank you. For years, my neighbors and I have known that 108 Sussex is subject to rent control. On December 12, 2024, we finally received a determination confirming what the record and even Councilman Rivera have clearly stated. 108 Sussex has been used as family apartments for decades. That day felt like justice at last. The determination was properly served, and our landlord responded indicating an intent to appeal, a process that should have been played out through the rent leveling board. The landlord's response on December 23rd closed the loop on due process related to the Bureau of Rent Leveling. The next steps were clear, but then just 12 days later, the original determination on Christmas Eve, Director Richardson broke that process by issuing a new determination, reversing everything. He called it a correction. But the facts don't add up. How does a determination properly served to tenants based on clear evidence suddenly transform into its exact opposite in favor of the landlord the day after a complaint? Director Richardson's signed determination on December 12th wasn't just a document. It was a promise. Due process is the promise to follow the rules fairly and transparently. That promise was broken. An unprecedented reversal like this warrants investigation and press attention to ensure accountability and fairness for all tenants. Now, this morning, Director Richardson has written again, insisting that this was all a mistake and that the corrected determination is final unless appealed. An appeal is part of the process. However, it should have been the landlord who had the appeal on the December 12th determination. Due process has sidestepped then a properly served determination.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, 5.7, Kevin.
Here. For the holiday, I still did not become an attorney. Good evening, council members. Since it's a new year, I'll say Kevin Weller, president of the Portside East Tenant Association. Anna's story isn't just her story, it's a pattern. Over the past 3 years, we've seen Director Richardson and his predecessor, Dinah Hendon, issue determinations that defy logic, contradict evidence, and undermine tenants' rights. Take Anna's case. On December 12th, Director Richardson issued a clear determination. 108 Sussex is subject to rent control. 12 days later, on Christmas Eve, he reversed himself completely, claiming the first decision was a mistake. Now this morning, he's doubling down on that reversal, saying tenants must appeal to the rent leveling board if they want justice. But why should tenants be forced to repeatedly appeal determinations that were already correct? When Director Richardson started his position in January 2023, I spoke with him. I asked about a curious letter signed in his name before he even began the job. He confirmed he had not written it. Metadata revealed it was actually drafted by Dinah Hendon. That letter, it was related to 108 Sussex, the same building we're discussing tonight. It sure seems like Richardson isn't very involved in crafting the determinations he is signing his name to, or someone is for him. Councilman Rivera, last year you publicly confirmed 108 Sussex was a family apartment building. At the February 8th, 2023 meeting, Rivera did not disagree with a tenant presenter. He was disagreeing with the claim that 108 Sussex was a boarding house. This context matters because the truth has always been consistent. 108 was never non-permanent dwellings, and therefore it has always been subject to rent control. Councilman Rivera, your family benefited from these protections. Why shouldn't Anna? Council members, help Anna because it's the right thing to do. Help her because the facts demand it. Help her because she deserves the same protections Councilman Rivera's family once had. We're not asking for special treatment, just the truth. Thank you. And with my 30 seconds I have left, we've already begun to see some very lovely photos of Councilman Rivera's family time in that apartment that was not a rooming house. Thank you.
Our next speaker, 5.8, Drew.
Good evening, council members. My name is Drew Kochanowski and I live at Portside Towers. At the final council meeting of 2024, we were promised an update on the lack of uninformed security and resident superintendents at Portside Towers. Here's our update. Nothing has changed. There is still no uninformed security, and there is still no resident superintendent in either building. These aren't optional amenities. They're legally mandated safeguards for buildings of this size. Uninformed security and resident supers are not just conveniences, they are lifelines. Without them, we're left exposed to emergencies, crime, and systemic neglect. Here's what that looks like in real terms. A bleeding woman sought refuge in our lobby, and there was no security guard to intervene or assist her. Pipes burst, and instead of a live-in superintendent who could address the issue immediately, we're told to call a service super that provides no urgent help. These are not hypotheticals, they are real situations that we as tenants have endured. The laws are clear, the protections are clear, but enforcement? That remains absent, just like the security guard who should be at our front desk and the superintendent who should live on site. Council members, what message does it send when these legal requirements are ignored with impunity? It tells tenants that our safety and our rights are not priorities. It tells landlords that they can flout the law without consequence. And it tells this city that the people tasked with upholding justice are asleep at the wheel. We should not need another year or another crisis to see action. This is not just a matter of legality, it's a matter of accountability. Enforce the ordinances, hold landlords responsible, make tenant safety non-negotiable. Council members, the alarm has been sounding for far too long, but no one seems to hear it. Please, before another preventable tragedy occurs, take action. Enforce the laws already in place. Protect the residents who count on you to lead. Thank you.
Our next speaker, 5.9, Mark.
Good evening, members of the City Council. I'm here tonight, weary but resolute. Frankly, I wish I didn't have to be here. I dream of a day when my attendance at these meetings is unnecessary. A day when the safety concerns of my neighbors and I at Portside are not just acknowledged, but genuinely addressed. For nearly a year, I've come before you to sound the alarm about the dangerously inadequate security at Portside. 6 months ago, this council took a decisive step approving Ordinance 24055, which clarified and strengthened our city's municipal code that mandates uniform security service for multiple dwellings. This ordinance, signed into law by the mayor on June the 27th, was a beacon of hope, yet here we stand 6 months later, facing the same chilling reality. Despite the clear mandate for uniform security, recent events paint a disturbing picture of negligence and disregard, jeopardizing the safety of our community. In December, our lobby descended into chaos when 2 non-residents caused a major disturbance requiring the intervention of multiple police officers. Where was the mandated uniform security? Absent, as they have been consistently since Portside's exemption from this very requirement expired on August the 15th, 2015. Even more harrowing, on November the 5th, one of my neighbors received a death threat from an individual in a car parked at the southern end of Washington Street. A police report was filed, but this chilling incident is a stark reminder of the escalating danger in our neighborhood. The area around the Korean War Memorial has become a haven for suspicious activity, including what appears to be open drug dealing. To add insult to injury, Washington Street is supposed to be locked with a chain at 8 p.m. each night by Portside Security, as stipulated in Ordinance 07-153. But how can this happen without security personnel? It can't and it doesn't. This critical safety measure has been consistently ignored. Let's be clear. Portside's been in blatant violation of the law for a staggering 3,429 days. That's 9 years of negligence, with multiple violations occurring each day. They do not employ the 2 required uniform security guards. They fail to secure the south end of Washington Street as mandated. They have no current exemption from the security service requirements. We implore Director Joe Barrow of the Office of Code Compliance to step up and fulfill his duty to enforce Muni Code 218-1. We need action, not just acknowledgements. Only through decisive enforcement can we ensure the safety and security of Portside Towers residents and finally bring an end to these repeated and frankly exhausting pleas for help. Thank you.
Our next speaker, 5.10, Jessica.
Good evening, City Council. As we step into the new year, 2025, we are presented with an opportunity, a moment to pause, reflect, and decide how we want to move forward. Reflection is a powerful tool. It allows us to identify what worked well, what didn't, and most importantly, what truly matters in our lives and in our roles. At the top of my list, what truly matters to me is making a positive impact on my family, friends, and community. I imagine many of you feel the same way. After all, you sought public office to serve and to lead, to improve the lives of those in Jersey City. This year holds particular significance, however. It's an election year, a time of both opportunity and accountability. Whether you are seeking re-election or pursuing new roles, it's a chance to reflect deeply on your contributions, your impact, and your vision for the future. It's also the perfect time to acknowledge past missteps and to use them as stepping stones instead for growth. As Gandhi once said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Leadership is service. And in that service, there's no room for complacency, particularly when it comes to issues like transparency and accountability. These are not abstract concepts. They are the foundation of trust between government and the people it serves. Here in Jersey City, one tangible way to make an impact is to ensure that city government operates transparently and holds itself accountable, especially in the context of budgets, affordable housing, and the proper enforcement of the laws of our city. These are areas where real lives are affected, where your decisions, or lack thereof, can mean the difference between security and uncertainty for thousands of your residents. As you reflect on the past year, ask yourselves, have I done everything in my power to uphold the trust placed in me by my constituents? Have I been transparent, ethical, and proactive? Would I be proud to share with my family the things I have done? Have I fought for those who are often unheard, the tenants, the families, and the vulnerable members of our community? Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." Silence and inaction are choices, but so are courage and commitment. This year, let us choose courage. Let us choose action. Let us choose to make 2025 a year of integrity, accountability, and meaningful change for the city of Jersey City. Thank you.
Our next speaker, 5.11, Joel.
Good evening, President Waterman and council members. I'm here to wish you a happy, healthy, and most of all, productive 2025. The new year, and yet it seems as nothing has changed. On Tuesday morning, a regular work day, the hot water system feeding our apartment failed. We called the service number and were ultimately connected to an off-site call center. The best she could do was to take our information and promise a call back. Many hours later, we received a call from a newly hired, quote, senior service technician, close quote, who reported that the parts needed to be ordered and we would be out of hot water until further notice. We are still without hot water and received an email today stating, in part, our boiler vendor has confirmed that the components will be available for installation as of tomorrow, 1/3, and we expect full hot water service will be restored by tomorrow evening. During this ordeal, we again asked if there was a resident supervisor and received no effective response. Councilmember Solomon last time asked us to keep you informed of the status of any resident supervisors and uniformed security. I can confirm that we have not seen a resident supervisor or uniformed supervisor security for either building, and I have not been informed that any exist. Our landlord continues to ignore your ordinances And we have seen no effort by this council to ensure that your ordinances are enforced. It's a new year. What will this council do to ensure that your ordinances will be enforced this year? Please show us that 2025 will be different. Thank you.
Our next speaker, 5.12, Gracie. You here? Not here? Okay. Next speaker, 5.13, Liv.
Hey again. I'm Liv. I live at 429 Bergen Avenue, a building owned by West of Hudson Properties. My landlord, Amir bin Yohanan, has 4 warrants out for his arrest right now in East Orange for being a slumlord. The warrants are for breaking the law in regards to superintendents and dwellings, hot and cold water, and sanitation and safety of the dwelling. Here in Jersey City, Amir also has 7 active municipal court cases just from last month related to failure to comply with Jersey City building standards. I was going to talk about what's happening in other buildings that Amir owns, but someone else is here and they can speak for themselves. I'm just here to talk about accountability. In March, it will be a year since I filed an illegal rent petition. A year of paying $2,300 a month for an apartment with leaks and roaches. A year of paying $2,300 a month for a landlord that did not file a rent control exemption nor landlord registration statement for 5 years, and did not inform us tenants that the building was not rent controlled. Who holds Amir bin Yohanan accountable? This council? I've watched good faith efforts from Portside to improve Chapter 260 go ignored. Like, remember the easy to understand flow chart? I remember it was great. So what other options do West of Hudson property tenants like myself have other than direct organizing action? Can we really count on this council at all? That's how I'm feeling. Right now, I'm just going to ask this council to advocate for more serious action against our landlord, Amir bin Yohanan. East Orange has put out an arrest warrant. Where is this energy from Jersey City?
So Liv, just as an update for you, the Jersey City Prosecutor's Office is working on this currently as we speak.
Right.
Okay, our next speaker, 5.14, Suzanne.
Happy New Year. Tonight, I'd like to share a story that I believe will resonate with many of you who have children in our public schools or who advocate for education in our community. Imagine if we discovered that one of our city's largest schools was operating with half its fire exits locked. Imagine learning the qualified teachers were being replaced with untrained substitutes to save money. Imagine finding out that some classrooms had black mold growing on the walls while others lacked heat during winter months. And imagine being told that fixing these issues wasn't a priority because they only affected some of the students, not all of them. We all know what would happen next. This council chamber would be overflowing with angry parents. The superintendent would be called to account. The school board would face immediate pressure to act. The media would run front page stories. And most importantly, these issues would be fixed, not next month and next budget cycle, but immediately. Why? Because we understand that when parents send their children to school, they're placing their trust in our system to keep those children safe. Yet here I stand speaking about similar violations happening right now in residential buildings where hundreds of families, your constituents, live. These families placed their trust in our city's housing system, just as parents trust our schools. They believed that when our city passed laws requiring security guards and qualified superintendents, those laws would be enforced. They trusted that when they reported water damage and mold, someone would take action. But unlike our hypothetical school scenario, these violations have persisted for years. Some of our neighbors began 2025 without hot water. Imagine if that had happened in one of our schools. The response would have been immediate and decisive. I'm here tonight because the families in these buildings that we've been discussing deserve the same urgency, the same protection, and the same respect as our school children. They are not asking for special treatment. They are simply asking for the enforcement of existing laws designed to protect their safety and well-being. Thank you for your time and attention to this crucial matter. I hope we can follow and enforce our ordinances this year.
Our next speaker, 5.15, Michelle.
Hello, Michelle Hirsch, President of the Portside Towers West Tenant Association. Happy New Year, council members. Tonight marks the beginning of our third year advocating for tenants' rights before you. Yet despite our vigilance, Anna Cruz's story that you heard earlier tonight regarding 108 Sussex Street shows just how much remains unchanged. On December 12th, after filing an illegal rent increase petition, Anna received justice. Director Richardson issued a clear evidence-based determination confirming that 108 Sussex is subject to rent control. Then came her Christmas Eve surprise, an unexplained reversal by Richardson stating the building is actually exempt. Richardson claimed his decision wasn't changed, but the facts don't support that. Anna stood here last February hearing Councilman Rivera affirm what everybody knows. 108 Sussex has always been a permanent multiple dwelling apartment building. Council members, this doesn't pass the smell test. If tenants like Anna weren't here tonight, would anybody know about these reversals? Would the truth about this case have come to light? In 3 years, we've learned that nothing happens without vigilance. Our presence here isn't just for advocacy, we also demand accountability. We've uncovered patterns of determinations being reversed, ignored, and manipulated. We've seen landlords get the benefit of the doubt while tenants are left in the dark, literally. You know all this, and under your watch, the nonsense continues at tenants' expense. I urge you to act, demand transparency, restore Anna's December 12th determination, and ensure that no tenant anywhere in this city faces these injustices again. To Director Richardson, we're not calling you a liar, but your actions make it really hard to trust the system you represent. If your correction reversal stands, it effectively calls Councilman Rivera's testimony a lie. Anna's case puts your word against Councilman Rivera's recorded statement. For your sake and the tenant's sake, I hope the building's final determination reflects the truth. The burden should be on Anna's landlord, Quality Prospects Incorporated, to appeal if it believes it has a case, but the city shouldn't subvert its own process by changing a legally served determination just one day after the landlord complained. This Christmas Eve Dinah Hendening wasn't meant to be noticed, but we've seen it and we're committed to seeing this through.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, 5.16, Anthony.
Before that speaker comes up, Ms. Cruz, I just want to address you directly. And I am telling you, and I don't have to prove with pictures or none of that stuff. I literally grew up at 108 Sussex. We can use this tape for the record. It was not a brothel house. It was not a boarding house. We had tenants, Puerto Rican tenants, from the bottom of that building to the top of the building. We lived in the top of the building. We opened the fire hydrants every single day in the summer, and we had fun. We went to PS16 swimming pool every single day in the summer and in the winter. And that building was a building that was, it was the biggest building in Sussex, you know, and our neighbors were not Puerto Rican. Those neighbors next door was, I think there was like 2 or 3 buildings there, which was a Polish community. Across the street, where there's a bank now, was a grocery store. On the other side, where Proteceno was Howie's candy store. And we literally grew up in that building, and we had the time of our lives. I don't know whether or not it was a rent control, because I wasn't into that political stuff as a kid, but I can tell you that the Rivera, Vergara, Ortiz, Figueroa families lived in there for years. And I just want to be on the record and very, very clear. I don't know where they're getting this information, where this owner is going with this, where the city is going with this. I am telling you, I was and my family were residents of that building, period.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, 5.16, Anthony. Is Anthony here?
Oh,
No. And our last speaker, 5.17, Marilyn. Not here? Okay. That will conclude our public speakers. Okay. Any questions or comments on our petitions, communications, items 6.1 through 6.32? Hearing none, there are no officer communications or report of directors or claims. So we're going to move right on to our resolutions. And I have to read them into the record since we didn't have a caucus for this meeting. Item 10.1, City Resolution 25-001 is a resolution authorizing approval for the calendar year 2025 temporary budget. Item 10.2, Resolution 25-002 is a resolution of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City accepting the award of $603,339.92 in funds from the United States Department of Treasury. And item 10.3, City Resolution 25-003 is a resolution of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City authorizing the business administrator to execute a discharge of mortgage encumbering 377-379 Halliday Street, Jersey City, also known as Block 17402, Lot 3, formerly known as Block 2077, Lot 34. Council members are going to be taking a vote on items 10.1 through 10.3. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye for all.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye for all.
Councilperson Gilmore.
I just got one question with regards to 10.3. Was this the one that was on and then came back?
Yep.
Okay.
Council, this is the one that on Deja provided additional information. We brought it back. Based on the LLC as your question. That's right.
All right. Oh, aye.
Thank you. Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
I vote aye, but listen, Ms. Cruz, I gotta address something else because I'm really pissed off up here, right? I take it personal, you know, when people say that, you know, this whole building was what they're calling it. Like my family lived there, you know, so I don't know the journeys that they're taking, but I'm gonna make sure that, you know, me personally, I'll get to the bottom of that and I'll ask those questions that need to be asked. But that's it. I'm still upset about it, but you know, I vote aye.
And Council President Waterman. Resolutions 10.1 through 10.3 are approved 8-0 with Councilperson Solomon absent. All right. I'm going to ask the magic question. May I have a motion to adjourn at 6:35 p.m.?
Motion.
Motion made by Councilperson Saleh. May I have a second?
Excuse me?
We're in the middle of a motion. I'm sorry.
I'll rescind my motion. I'll rescind my motion.
Get ready to.
Sorry, there's one more tenant that came today and the process is new to her, so she wasn't aware of how this works, but I wanted to know if she could just speak about her building, please.
What ward is she in? I'll let her speak to the council person. After this. Okay, after we close out the mirror, speak to her. Okay? She'll talk with her. Go ahead, finish on.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn at 6:35 PM made by Councilperson Saleh. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Council President Waterman. All in favor of the motion at 6:35 PM, all council members present by acclamation, please say aye. We are out of here at 6:35 PM.